I often get depressed in Canberra's colder, darker months, so for the winter of 2019 I decided to ride my bicycle to the tropics. For this trip, I'd loosely planned a 7,000 kilometre, 3-month journey, an inland route to Cairns, and then a coastal route back to Canberra, all of which would be subject to change and improvisation as required.
Just down here there's a little town called Albert, and it's very small, but I've been looking at the National Public Toilet Map, and Albert has a public toilet which has drinkable water, showers and baby changing. I'm interested in the shower. I haven't had a shower in a while. Well, that's goodbye to the Bogan Way. It's 3 kilometres to Albert down here. Anyway, the Bogan Way wasn't really living up to its name. I didn't see a single pair of speed dealers the whole time. I've decided that I might want to post some things back to myself in Canberra just to cut down on the weight. I've decided I don't really need the camp stove. It's just extra weight and space. And the same with the GoPro, actually. I don't use it. Maybe even the laptop, because it makes the trip a lot more enjoyable with a lot less weight. Well, we're at the park in Albert, which is a tiny, tiny town. It's got a hotel over there, the Rabbit Trap Hotel, and a fuel station, and that's about it. A couple of buildings here. But it's also got a really good toilet block. Thank you to the Lachlan Shire Council for putting this in, because in here we have a shower, we have all the amenities, we even have a PowerPoint which I'm charging my power bank at, and it even has hot water, which is so nice. So I had a shave. Don't know if you can see. I'm almost out of food. I've only got this packet of shapes left and some oats. I've just had some oats as a lunch because I can eat the shapes on the road, whereas it's easier to cook while I'm here. It's about 70 something k's to Trangie. As I was riding along to get to Albert, I forgot to mention I was flown over by a wedge-tailed eagle. My, they are impressive birds. I reckon this one's wingspan, no exaggeration, was 2.5 metres.
Just as I was packing up to leave Albert, a young couple came over to have a chat. It turned out it was the policeman from Warren, along with his girlfriend. They'd moved out from Sydney because the pay was better out west, and on this particular day they were out to visit the Rabbit Trap Hotel. They were really interested in my trip, but I was in a rush, wanting to find a campsite near Trangie before the sunset. The ride itself was fairly uneventful, but rather peaceful, even if the road was a little bumpy in parts. I ended up stopping about 23 kilometres from Trangie at a locality marked Murrumbah, and the sunset was quite lovely. The area was very quiet, and I got to sleep fairly early, but I woke up at midnight feeling hungry.
I'm making myself some midnight porridge to fill my tummy, because this is the only food I've got left. Maybe a lighter would have been better. It's all mushy. Why is that moist? Why has that come undone like that? I don't know. So I found that there's condensation in here. You can see that little drip over on the side there. And that's why the matches have been made moist.
Monday morning started off sunny, but a line of fog came over by about 9 a.m, making things very cold. My hands felt like they were about to fall off as I rode towards Trengy. As I reached the town, the fog cleared and I sat in the park warming up and eating a pie from the local bakery.
Well, I'm hanging out here in sunny Trengy, and I've been going through my stuff and figuring out what I don't want to take with me. And I've got this bag here, and I think it must weigh about 2.5 kilos.
I went to the post office but was told that my items were too dangerous to post, which I personally thought was ridiculous considering there was no energy left in the battery and no fuel left in the Trangia. So I went back to the park where I met a woman with a big dog. Her name was Lynn. She gave me carrot cake and then we chatted and gossiped for an hour or so. She suggested I go to Warren and try the post office there in order to get rid of my excess stuff. We went shopping together at the supermarket and said goodbye. As I came back to my bike, I was intercepted by yet another local, who introduced himself as Paul. I was trying to get out of town by this point though, so I brushed him off quite quickly.
So I was talking with this bloke in the park back there, Paul, and he basically said if any vegans came out here, they would almost certainly end up being shot or go missing in a ditch somewhere. And he was talking as though he'd be one of the people doing the shooting. I just thought, gee, that's a bit extreme. Tonight's campsite is besides the Mitchell Highway and associated railroad track going from Trangy down that end to Nyngan at the other end, and on the way Nevertire, which I'll be turning off at. And I've found a spot down here. So this is a travelling stock route. The neighbour's fence is actually way over there. So hopefully, like last night, it should be a fairly nice sleep.
On the morning of the 18th, I got up and rode along the Mitchell Highway towards Nevertire. This was my first proper highway riding on this trip, and there was a section close to town where the shoulder all but disappeared. With trucks coming both ways, I had to get off the road at times.
Never before have I seen an excavator on rails. That's pretty cool. This is Warren's Park, and the Quarry River is just over there. I've packed all the stuff that I was trying to get rid of into this bag, and that's like a whole penny's worth of weight. So I'm going to see if I can talk the post people into allowing me to send that all home. This is such boy humour. Best erections. Oh gosh. Anyway, I just visited the post office here in Warren, and oh my gosh, what a totally different experience to Trangy. This woman was just, oh no worries, let's make it happen, etc, etc. Didn't even mention dangerous goods the whole time. She just was like, oh, let's see if we can make it fit in the 3 kilo bag, etc, etc. And she did, and it only cost me $15, and now it's on its way to Canberra, so so much better to have all that weight off. And now I'm going shopping.
Leaving the township of Warren, I headed north across the floodplains of the Macquarie Marsh Delta, looking for somewhere to camp. I found a relatively secluded area, but it turned out to be full of spiky weeds.
I've just been riding through a whole bunch of catheads, and they're not getting through, which is awesome. Cathead-proof tyres is the dream in Australia. Don't know if you can see that. They're pretty nasty. I'll just put it down there, you'll see. That's a very small one. They get quite large. But they're not getting through at all. So that's pretty nice. I'm quite far away from the river now, but this is all floodplain and it's got no fences. I think it's used as a travelling sort of stock route like a lot of areas around here are. You can see that the grass has been eaten off, so there's a lot of stock coming through. Warren doesn't have fresh water. Everything in Warren is river water, so you have to buy water, which is crazy. These 2 bottles cost me $7. I should have just used my water purifying filter, but the reason I bought these bottles is because they're slightly larger than my others anyway. 1.5 litres each instead of 1.25 litres each. They also fit more snugly, they don't move at all, so I figured why not. Yeah, so this scalded area here is where the cattle have been hanging out. I'm going to set up my tent here. No tent pegs because this land will be very, very hard. I'm hoping that I've still got reception here. It's about 5k's out of town. Well, it's morning. Breakfast today is avocado on bread, maybe some capsicum too. And it's very, very calm and still. Well, I'm packed up and ready to leave now. It's pretty much bang on 9 o'clock and the wind has picked up. I don't think it's quite at the predicted level, but it's pretty fast. So we'll see if that translates into a nice tailwind. Check out that mirage. Believe it or not, it's actually really cold. But it doesn't look it, does it? It's so flat and so dry out here. Anyway, I've been averaging over 30k's an hour for the last hour because of this wind. Between Walgett and Coonamble. I think I'm about a third, maybe a bit more than a third of the way there, and we've got some pretty cool looking mountains in the distance. Can't really see them very well, but I'm sure they'll become more apparent as we get closer. Well, here's something that the farmers and the greenies can actually agree on. Coal seam gas. I've seen so many just fences like this out the front of properties with signs on them and, well, trailers out the front like this one. Basically saying no to coal seam gas, saying things like save our water, etc. Looks like we've got a roadblock up ahead. And it's strange. Just 2 paddocks back, it was really dry. And now the green grass is showing through. Very, very rapid transition. Although it looks like it's dry again up there, so who knows. Really weird. G'day. Hey, cows. They're very scared of me, much more so than traffic, because they're not used to me. Very curious, aren't I? It really has greened up in a very short while. It's only a few kilometres back there that it's as dry as can be. Doing some high speeds again, 37 at the moment. Got this tailwind behind me, and it's only going to get faster because the wind's coming from the south and this road is just turning to the north now. Beautiful mountains over there. Getting close to Coonamble, 20 k's. Well, the Castlereagh is completely empty at the moment. That's the second road train exactly the same as that passed, carrying coal. Must be mines near here. Not sure how sunburned I'm getting, which is why I'm taking this footage, because I don't have a mirror. I can just look at the footage and then it'll tell me. It is winter, so it's minimal risk of sunburn compared to other times of year, but I want to avoid it completely if possible. Here they go again, scared of me. Roadworks with a lollipop man directing the traffic, and I was the only one stopped there, so we had a chat, and he said, "Why are you doing this?" And I said something along the lines of, "Oh, because I'm young and stupid and, you know, want to test myself." Something like that. And he goes, and this cracked me up, he goes, "Well, I'm young too, and I just go to the pub." I thought that was a really good line. But yeah, he was funny. And then he was like, "Oh, it sounds like something you'd do when you lost a serious bet or dare." And I said, "Yeah, it does sound like that, doesn't it?" He said, "Oh, I've had a few." He said, "It sucks when you get arrested." He was funny. Anyway, I'm going to keep going, and I'm hoping to get off the highway before nightfall, which is in an hour, and it's 20 something k's to get off this highway, so I should be able to just do that. Well, it's a really bad choice of campsites tonight. This is what I've got to sleep at. I might put the tent up the top here somewhere. or down here even. But basically, there's no other option because excuse me, the cows have just spread cat heads everywhere. So I've got to find an area of like scorched dirt so that I don't pop my mattress or something. And I think that's about as good as it's going to get. Yeah, they've just... Look at all these weeds. The cattle have just brought them with them. First time I've ever camped at a dam, though. So who knows? Maybe it'll turn out alright. Well, the moon's just risen, and it is a big orange one. It's quite nice.